A plane crash, a deserted island, a group of boys. What could go wrong? What starts as an innocent adventure quickly turns into a terrifying battle for survival. When fear and hunger take over, the lines between civilization and savagery blur. Will they make it out alive? Or has the island already claimed them? Watch to find out. Welcome to Premier Tales. One sunny afternoon, a plane carrying a group of young boys crashed in the middle of a wild tropical island. The boys were scared, confused, and didn't know what to do. The oldest was only 14, and the youngest was just 6. They quickly realized that no one knew where they were. There was no help coming. The island was their new home, and they had to survive together. Among the boys, there were 2 who stood out. Ralph, tall and strong, quickly took charge. He said, "We need to work together if we want to survive. Let's make rules. We'll keep a fire going to signal passing ships. If we do that, we can get rescued." The boys agreed, thinking rescue would come soon. They started a fire and took turns to keep it burning. The boys thought they were doing the right thing, but they didn't know how quickly things would change. The days passed, but no rescue came. The boys were hungry, tired, and scared. Ralph did his best to keep order, but not all of them wanted to follow his rules. Jack, a boy who loved to lead, was getting tired of the fire and the rules. He wanted to hunt. Jack said, "The fire is not important. I want to hunt. I want to feel alive." Ralph tried to explain that keeping the fire going was their only chance, but Jack wasn't listening. He started forming his own group of boys, and they went hunting instead of keeping the fire going. They painted their faces and began to act wild. The boys were starting to split into 2 groups, those who wanted order and those who wanted freedom. One day, while the boys were out hunting, one of them, Simon, went deep into the jungle to explore. He found something strange, a pig's head on a stick surrounded by flies. The boys had put it there as an offering to what they thought was the beast that lived on the island. Simon stood frozen, staring at the pig's head. It seemed to be whispering to him. "The beast isn't out there, it's inside all of you," the pig's head seemed to say. Simon felt a chill run down his spine. He realized that the darkness the boys feared wasn't a creature, they were the beast. Simon knew he had to tell the others, but when he tried to leave the jungle, something terrible happened. The boys had become wild. They were dancing around a fire chanting, "Kill the beast! Kill the beast!" When Simon appeared, his face twisted in terror, the boys didn't recognize him. In their frenzy, they mistook him for the beast and attacked him. Simon died in the chaos, his body left lying on the jungle floor. It was the first death on the island, but it would not be the last. Jack's group had grown stronger. They no longer cared about the fire, they only cared about hunting. Every day they went deeper into the jungle to find more pigs. They started killing animals, tearing them apart. They felt powerful. Ralph and his group tried to keep the fire going, but fewer and fewer boys joined him. The island was changing them all. They were becoming wild. Ralph didn't know how to stop it. Ralph was tired. His group was falling apart. The fire was almost out, and he was worried that they might never get rescued. One day, Jack challenged Ralph to a fight. "You're not a real leader," Jack sneered. "I'm the one who should be in charge." Ralph was angry but tried to stay calm. "This island isn't a game, Jack. We need rules. We need to stay together." But Jack didn't listen. His group of hunters grew bigger. Ralph knew that if Jack took over, the island would become a dangerous place. Jack's group played a dangerous game. They started hunting the other boys. They tied up anyone who refused to join them. They chased Ralph and his friends through the jungle. Piggy, Ralph's closest friend, tried to talk sense into Jack. "We can't live like this. We're not animals." But Jack just laughed. "The world we knew is gone, Piggy. It's time to live in the jungle." The tension between the 2 groups reached its peak. Ralph and Jack were no longer friends. Ralph tried to keep his group together, but his voice wasn't enough. Jack's boys grew wilder, and Ralph's group began to fall apart. They didn't know how to fight back. One day, Jack set a trap for Ralph and his friends. They were all running for their lives, scared of what Jack would do next. Ralph, Piggy, and the others ran through the jungle trying to hide from Jack's group. They stumbled upon a strange sight, an old cave. It seemed safe, so they decided to take shelter there, but they didn't know that Jack was watching them from a distance. Just as Ralph and Piggy thought they were safe, Jack's boys launched an attack. The cave was no longer a safe place. It was clear now. Only one group would survive. Ralph and Jack led their boys into one last battle. Jack was furious. Ralph was determined to protect the last bit of order, but no one was ready for what would happen next. The battle between the boys was fierce, but it wasn't the battle they expected. The real danger wasn't Jack's group. It was the island itself. The jungle seemed to come alive with anger. The earth trembled beneath their feet and the sky darkened. Ralph and his group stumbled upon a hidden part of the island, an ancient temple covered in vines and shadows. Inside, they found a hidden secret. The island was cursed. The darkness that had overtaken the boys came from the island itself. It had turned them into savages. Ralph realized that they weren't just fighting each other, they were fighting something much darker. The boys continued to hunt, but now they were hunting for more than pigs. They were hunting the beast they believed haunted the island. Every time they ventured into the jungle, they felt like they were being watched. They never knew when the beast would strike. Ralph knew that the beast wasn't real, but his friends were becoming more and more convinced that something dark was out there. The fear of the beast controlled their every move. Ralph and his group grew weaker. Jack's group grew stronger. They were united by fear and hunger. They hunted together, sang together, and began to forget what it was like to be civilized. Ralph could see the change in their eyes. The island had become a prison, and the boys were trapped in their own darkness. As the boys' fight for survival continued, Ralph faced a heartbreaking choice. He could either fight Jack for control of the island or escape into the jungle and hope for a miracle. But even as he made his decision, he knew that nothing would ever be the same. The boys had already lost their innocence. Ralph found a way to escape the island. He climbed to the top of a mountain to find a signal for help. But when he reached the top, he saw something that shook him to the core. Jack's group had set the entire island on fire. The island was burning and the boys were trapped. Just as the flames spread, a ship appeared on the horizon. A naval officer had seen the smoke from the island and came to rescue them. But when the officer saw what had happened, he was shocked. The boys had gone from innocent children to savages. Ralph stood alone on the shore watching the flames rise behind him. He didn't know what to say. The world they had known was gone, and there was no going back. The boys were taken off the island, but their minds were forever changed. They no longer talked about the fire, the beast, or the terrible things they had done. They were quiet, haunted by the memories of their time on the island. The rescue had come too late. As the boys returned to civilization, they realized something chilling. The real beast wasn't the wild pigs or the jungle, it was within them. The darkness, the fear, and the hunger for power had been inside all along. Life returned to normal, but the boys were never the same. They couldn't forget what had happened on the island. Every time they looked into the mirror, they saw the darkness staring back at them. The island had changed them forever. The boys' journey ended, but the island's shadow would haunt them for the rest of their lives. They had learned the hardest lesson of all, that the true battle is not against others, but against the darkness inside ourselves. And so the island of shadows became just a memory, a reminder of the innocence lost and the beast that lurks within.